see it. First things first is that how long has this been in development with you guys?
We've been working on it a little bit over 2 years.
Okay.
And it's Black Sea Crytek has been the studio primarily responsible for its development. We've been able to enter testing now. We're in Friends and Family, and we're about to go into our closed beta test.
Okay.
Wow. So yeah, it's been under development for a fairly short time. When you think about it, 2 years is a relatively short time to develop a game, and we've got it fully playable. We're showing it on the show floor, and having 5 versus 5 battles right now.
Is that Jack the Ripper?
That is Jack the Ripper.
Oh, well done. Okay,
yeah,
so
exactly.
even the heroes and the villains are
exactly.
So people are going to see this. They see the tri-lane. They see the towers. Instantly, gamer mentality. I'm looking at a MOBA here.
Yeah.
So the first questions out of their mouth are going to be, what separates Arena of Fate from the other MOBAs that are available today?
So what we tried to do was basically we took a game mechanic that has shown itself to be very, very popular, which is that what you've just described, which is the lane systems and having the control over your hero. But we wanted to ask ourselves some different questions, like how do we get the 5 players on one team to actually all play together and get them to actually enjoy that experience? So we right from the beginning we started removing some of the things that cause conflict within the team. The second thing we did was said, okay.
Can you give me an example?
Oh, as an example, sure. In some of the games, there's a concept of last hit, which allows you, the player, to get the last hit in, and they basically steal the gold away from your team. If another person was actually hunting a minion, they would be able to take that gold for themselves and not necessarily for the benefit of the entire team. And in our game, if you're anywhere near that area where the combat's going on and you're participating in that combat, you're going to share that gold. So
it's not necessarily global sharing.
No.
It's still
regional.
Okay.
But it also actually that actually creates a pull for players to be together in the same space. There's an advantage to doing that, but there are other pulls that are trying to bring you apart. And so we want that constant challenging of where do I want to be on this map? Where's the best place for me to be right now? And that dynamic needs to be about where do I want to be in order to take advantage of fighting the enemy, not fighting within my own team.
Sure. I mean, that makes sense. So, and I mean, in a very almost crowded space these days with MOBAs, and certainly gamers who like to, draw a line in the sand, team combat, what you mentioned, is definitely some of the problems we see in games like Dota 2, and games like League of Legends. Right. Games like Heroes have really tried to do something similar to do that. And as far as that's concerned and the team goes, like, how does that change the meta overall? For example, I saw a lot of combat there initially in the mid lane with only one person on top and down below not really happening. Do you see, because you have a more regional distribution of experience and gold, that it's changing what would be considered a standard meta in a MOBA?
Well, we definitely change it, but it's not just because some of the small changes. There's a huge change that I've got to talk about. This is a 20-minute timed game.
Oh.
And this is a point system game. So in order to, in a lot of the games, it's all about territory advancement. Right. In this game, it's about point scoring. This is a sport, basically, where you're saying, hey, the game starts, it's going to last for 20 minutes. You know that when you start. So if you've got 20 minutes to play, you're guaranteed to get a game in. And you know that when you're playing the game, you can be in combat constantly during those 20 minutes. As a design team, we're able to make decisions and say, hey, for 20 minutes, constant action, constant combat, and we balance the game so that it stays competitive through that whole experience. You don't end up halfway through the game going, oh, I've lost, it's over.
And so there's not necessarily a thrown objective. It is truly every time I get a kill, I'm giving a point
well,
to my
not every
team.
time. So let me explain the point scoring system.
Okay.
There are 3 ways to score a point. If you get 7 kills, that's 1 point. You take down a tower, that's 1 point. You take down a Titan, that's another point. So those are the 3 ways to get a point. It is possible to go to the enemy's base and destroy that final tower. So if you're behind and you're able to actually get to the base and destroy it, you can win the game that way as well.
Even if you have
you're behind,
efficiency.
exactly. But at the end of 20 minutes, if neither team has won, the game ends, and the winner is the team with the most points. So we see the bar that's going across underneath the numbers there. That bar fills in for every kill the team gets, and once that fills up at 7 kills, that's a point as well.
Okay, and you mentioned killing a Titan.
Right, in the center of the map, later in the game, when it might become important for you to get a chance to come from behind, we spawn Titans. They're tough to kill, but if you do kill them, you get a full point for that. And so that's another way to very quickly score a point. We've tried to keep the game so that in that 20 minutes, you find yourself being competitive right till the very end.
Okay.
So we put comeback mechanics
in there.
Yeah.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that typically people think about when they're playing a game like this. One of them's items, and right now there's always this like really popular debate: do we need items? Do we not need items?
Well, we don't have items, so
Okay.
that's our answer to that debate.
Okay.
From our perspective, we've done what we call traits, which is, well, there's two things we've done. Once we've moved the really deep strategic decisions out of the battle time, so that you're actually, during battle, you're actually making only tactical decisions. Where do I want to be when, and what adjustments do I want to make to my character? And in the interface, you actually see glowing going on right now. This character has just reached level 6 and able to make a new decision about, okay, what do I want to add to my character? And it's not done by how you have to move somewhere special in the map. I can do it at any time. It's actually part of the interface. And so what that does is it means you stay in battle constantly. You're constantly making these tactical decisions, this moment-to-moment decision making, and with a 20-minute time frame, you know that you don't have time to make these long-term decisions. You're actually looking for that. How do I make sure I can make decisions that last for the next 10 minutes to make my team more powerful?
Sure. So there's still obviously a bunch of synergy that hypothetically can happen between your team if you're thinking a little bit more about who you're playing with. And
there's 4 abilities plus when you the very first time you level up, you get to choose a new active ability. So you end up with 5 active abilities that you can choose from as any hero. And those combinations between the different heroes, that's the ultimate skill in this game, is creating. So if I'm freezing characters, I'm doing crowd control on the characters, and you're a heavy damage dealer, you and I might want to hang out together because we're going to be able to actually take down heroes that otherwise I by myself being alone would not be able to do. Exactly.
Right. So then does that mean that of every character that you're playing, you sort of start with your fundamental 4 skills?
You start out with, yes, exactly. If you pick Robin Hood as an example, you're going to be shooting a bow, and you're going to be at range. You know that.
Right.
And your abilities are all focused around that fact. And so you meet that first expectation. But as soon as you start leveling your character up, you get to make the first active choices. What do I want to add to that based upon how I want to play or how I need to play in this game, this match?
Can you give me some examples of the decision I would make as a gamer when I got to that point?
Well, it's fairly early on. It happens pretty quickly in the battle. So early on, you might be doing something just as simple as I want to be able to heal myself.
Like a lifesteal.
I just want to. Lifesteal is actually a trait over here on the left-hand side.
Okay.
And that comes a little bit later, level 3. You start making those choices. But in this particular case, like a pure heal, I can take and give myself 80% of my health. Boom, do that. And that's a one-time opportunity that gets reset. It's on a cooldown.
Okay.
Right? You can actually see this. That's what this character here has.
Okay.
So that's an example of, okay, I know I'm going to be getting in there and going toe-to-toe with people. I'm more of a upfront kind of player. I want to get that sudden heal in there so I can just get that extra couple hits in at the last moment without dying. Or I'm the kind of character that is going to be playing kind of a defensive role. I want to hang close to my towers, and I want to be able to be durable. So I might want to go with an active heal. Whereas if you're an offensive player who, like the Robin Hood character I was talking about earlier, I want to do something like I want to be able to create a freeze attack and have that special ability be available.
For like an escape.
Exactly, for either escaping and or for getting that last hit in to kill the hero who is fleeing from you.
So you've given us a lot of information about the gameplay, the mechanics, sort of how the game plays out. I'm curious. I want to actually rewind and go back to the whole concept of sort of using both real and fictional characters and sort of bringing them to life as heroes. I mean, because in any sort of game like this, suddenly you realize, well, gosh, there is a lot of source opportunity.